get at the ideas that you're asking about, then some of the metrics that you could be paying attention to right now for your business as kind of revenue takes a hit. I think the way I look at this is that most likely means you're slower, unfortunately. Um, but again, looking at that as opportunity, doing things within your business that you can do now to optimize for when things get back to normal, when you can really hit the ground running again. Things that you maybe wouldn't have focused on in the past because you didn't have time, you're managing your business, that you have time for now. So I'll give you, let's see, six that I pulled that I think are really, really good. First one, something that's oftentimes very overlooked, but is a super effective way of really engaging with customers, email effectiveness. So a lot of companies do email marketing. A lot of companies don't look at their email marketing because again, it's let's send the emails out. Whatever happens, happens. We don't have time to go back and look at it. Now's the time. Start working on your email campaigns. The types of metrics that you're shooting for here, 20 to 30% open rates. So if you send out 100 emails to 100 customers, you should be able to track in your autoresponder and see that you're getting at least 20 or 30 of those people opening that email. If you're not, something's wrong with your subject line, something's wrong with the byline, who's it coming from, what's the name of your company on that byline, whatever it might be. The other idea with email marketing then is at least 5% click-throughs. So in that email body, if you send out 100 emails, you should be getting at least 5 clicks to some type of action, whether it's going back to your website, whatever it might be. Now is the time. Go and look at your email campaigns over the past year, past 2 years, and see where your metrics are at. If you're within those metrics, you're doing pretty good. If not, what else are you doing with your time? This would be a great time to start looking at it. The other idea that I have written down is the idea of your ratio of cost of your acquisition of your customer to revenue. So again, this would be a great time to maybe dive into your books and start looking at how much we're spending on advertising, how much does it cost us to generate a new customer, and how does that compare to our overall revenue from that customer. The ratio that we really look at here is 33%. If you're spending more than 33% of your revenue on acquiring new customers, you're doing something wrong, most likely. You're really giving away a lot of your margin. So this would be a great time to start looking at that and optimizing. How do we better spend our advertising to ensure that we are getting the correct ratio, the correct return on that? Another one that you can start looking at, and I think it's something that's oftentimes overlooked, but I pay attention to it just based off my background. What's going on with your website? So it would be a really good time to start seeing some of the different metrics within your website and potentially optimizing your website to give a better service, give a better experience to your customers when they interact with you on your website. Some of the things that we really pay attention to, site speed. If you have Google Analytics installed on your website, which you absolutely should, it's free. As a business owner, you should have it. What you're looking for is a maximum of 5-second page load times for all of your pages. So you can go and you can basically look at all of your page load times by averages. These should all be under 5 seconds. If they're not, you can optimize them. You can redesign those pages. You can minimize file sizes of images. You can clear out some old text, whatever it might be, to make sure that you're getting those page load times down. You can also look at what's called the time on page, average time on page. The metric that we look at here is, and the cutoff for the metric is basically a minute on average per page. So if I can basically, again, sort out within my Google Analytics account all of my pages on my website and view what's the average amount of time that people spend on that specific page. It should be at least a minute, and this is an engagement type of thing. If you're not seeing that level of engagement, then most likely what's happening is people aren't really getting anything from that page on your website. Maybe it needs to be deleted. Maybe it needs to be edited. Maybe you need to take 2 pages that are kind of basic and put them together into something that makes more sense. The last one that I have written down is then just this idea of upsell. So upsell rates. Go back and look at repeat customers, and now is the time to really optimize around that, because I think what you're seeing is customers are rallying around the brands that they are going to be loyal to. So if you're a company that traditionally hasn't really done a very good job of maximizing your upsell rates to your existing customers, now's the time to start trying to optimize around that. Take that metric of whatever it is, that repeat business level that you've been at, and see how far you can push it in a time like now. where people are trying to be loyal, I think, to small businesses and to businesses that are in their local community. So it's certainly a metric that you would, in the present tense, could really potentially help you with revenue as well, since people can try to access you in some way where they don't necessarily need to become a new customer. So
Wow, that I think that was absolutely gold. For anyone listening, I think you just walked away with a ton of gold information. I know as I was listening, as you're talking, Dr. Lortie, I'm thinking of all the different metrics in my head from our Google Analytics account for Fieldr. I'm thinking of
yeah,
our open rate, which I can confidently say is on average above a 32% open rate
that's awesome. Yeah, you're
for
right
our
where you should
email
be then,
newsletter.
which is great.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
guys do,
that
you have good content in your email newsletters too. So like they look
thank
professional,
you.
they come across. So it doesn't surprise me that you have
Right.
a high open rate. You know what I mean? What about like your
Awesome.
click through rate then for like the emails?
Average about 6 to 7%.
Perfect.
So
Yeah. So those
right when
are,
you said five, I was like, no,
yeah,
yeah.
those are the lines in the sand that you typically look at. For different brands that I have, it's weird. Like you'll see some brands that I have that go to certain types of customer segments. When you do like follow up emails to those types of customers, it's weird. Like they don't respond to it. It's because I'm trying to take something that works for one type of customer and do the same exact thing with another customer, and I can't do
Hmm.
it. So then you have to feel like, okay, so how do I rate this email for this type of person to get that response that I'm looking for? But they're just, these are the cutoffs that you can really start looking at. And really, again, I think it's things that people, when you're running a business, you sometimes get stuck working in the business a little too much, and you don't necessarily have the time to go back and look at how are we actually performing on some of these kind of basic metrics that apply to all businesses at this point. So now's the time. You know, if you find yourself having extra time because you're not quite as busy, optimize around these types of things, get some plans in place for what you can do to optimize these things. So that way, you know, given that it might be a month, 2 months, whatever it might be, for as long as we're going to be doing this, once it comes back to, again, whatever the new normal is, you've optimized your business around these things. You should see not just increased revenue from existing customers, but as you go through the process of working with new customers at that point, you should be seeing revenue increasing from them as well. So